My son died on a Wednesday morning in November, and I want to tell you that the Wednesday morning broke something in me that I did not believe could be repaired, and that I am telling you this story because it was repaired, not in the way that broken things are repaired when they are restored to what they were before the breaking, because that restoration is not available, and I would not pretend it is, but in the way that broken things are sometimes repaired when something grows through the break that could not have grown through the unbroken surface, and the something that grew through mine is what I want to tell you about. My name is Joseph. I am 84 years old, and I want to tell you about my son Thomas, and about what happened after he died, and about the thing I am calling a miracle, not because I use the word loosely, but because I have no other word that is accurate for what the experience was. Thomas was 51 years old when he died. He died of a cardiac event that arrived without warning on a Wednesday morning when he was at his desk in the office where he had worked as a civil engineer for 23 years. And the arriving without warning is the specific detail that I have returned to most often in the 4 years since, not because the warning would have prevented the death, but because the absence of the warning meant there was no goodbye. And the no goodbye is the weight that sudden loss carries, that the slower losses do not carry in quite the same form. I want to tell you who Thomas was because the who he was is the center of everything, and because the center deserves to be described before the miracle is described. Thomas was the elder of my two children, born in 1969 when I was 29 years old and his mother Ruth was 27, and he was from his earliest years the specific and particular person that each child is, recognizable as himself from the beginning and consistent with himself across the 51 years of his life in the way that the people who are most fully themselves tend to be. He was a gentleman. I want to say that as the primary description because I think it is the most accurate, and because I think gentleness in a man is among the qualities most worth naming, specifically when it is present, because it is present less often than it should be, and because its presence in Thomas was the quality that produced the specific and comprehensive grief that his death generated in the people whose lives he had touched, which were more people than I had fully understood until the funeral, and the weeks after it revealed the breadth of what his gentleness had built. Ruth died 6 years before Thomas, which means I have been navigating the years since Thomas without the person who shared the specific grief of his loss with the completeness that only the other parent can share it, and the navigating of the grief alone has been the primary difficulty of the 4 years since November and the context in which the miracle arrived. I want to tell you about the miracle now because I have built enough context for it to be received as what it was, rather than as what it might seem without the context. 8 months after Thomas died, I was sitting in the garden that Ruth had planted 30 years ago, and that I maintain as the specific and daily act of love for her that the maintaining of it is, and I was not thinking about anything in particular, which is the state of mind that the grief had been producing with increasing frequency in the months since the November Wednesday, the state of not thinking in particular that is not peaceful, but is the specific exhaustion of a mind that has been working very hard for a long time, and that has temporarily run out of the resources for the working. My phone rang. It was a number I did not recognize, and I answered it with the mild irritation of someone who expects a sales call and who answers anyway, because at 80, the phone call that might be important outweighs the phone call that is probably not. The voice on the other end was a young man's voice. He said his name was Marcus, and he said he was calling because he had found my number through Thomas's colleagues at the engineering firm, and that he wanted to speak with me if I was willing, and that he understood if I was not willing, and that he would not call again if I preferred. I asked him what he wanted to say, and he said he wanted to tell me about Thomas, about something Thomas had done for him 14 years ago that he had never been able to thank him for, and that he had been trying to find the way to express for 14 years, and that Thomas's death had made the expression both more necessary and more difficult, and that he had decided that the necessary outweighed the difficult, and that this was the call. I told him to tell me. Marcus had been 22 years old and a junior engineer at Thomas's firm 14 years ago, new to the work and new to the city, and struggling in the specific and comprehensive way of a young man who is far from home and uncertain of his capability, and carrying a private difficulty that the professional environment did not know about, and that he had been managing alone with the inadequate resources of someone who is too proud to ask for help and too frightened to admit the need. Thomas had noticed, not in the dramatic way of someone who intervenes with declarations of concern, but in the specific and quiet way of Thomas, the gentle way, the way of a man who pays attention to the people around him and who acts on what the attention reveals without making the acting into a performance of his own virtue. He had invited Marcus to lunch. He had asked questions and listened to the answers with the genuine and patient attention that the answers deserved. He had said nothing dramatic and had done something specific, which was to connect Marcus with the resources he needed and to follow up with the specific and consistent care of someone who understood that the connecting was the beginning rather than the completion of the help. Marcus said that what Thomas had done 14 years ago had saved his life. I want to tell you those words exactly because they are the exact words, and because the exactness is the miracle, the specific and precise weight of what a gentleman's attention to a struggling young colleague had produced across 14 years of a life that continued because of it. Thomas never told me about Marcus. He never told me about any of the people he helped in the quiet and consistent way that his gentleness produced the helping, because Thomas was not a man who reported his own goodness, and because the helping was not for the reporting, but for the person being helped. I sat in Ruth's garden with the phone in my hand after the call ended, and I wept in the specific way of a man who has been given something he did not know he needed, and that the giving of revealed he needed more than almost anything the grief had produced, which was the evidence that the person he was grieving had been more fully and more beautifully himself than even the father who had known him his entire life had completely understood. The miracle was not the supernatural intervention that the word sometimes implies. The miracle was the revelation, arriving through a stranger's phone call 8 months after the worst Wednesday of my life, that my son had been quietly building something with his gentleness across 51 years that I had not known the full extent of, and that his death could not unmake, and that continues in Marcus and in others I do not know about, and that is the specific and enduring form of a life that was genuinely lived rather than merely occupied. I called Marcus back the following day. We have spoken several times since, and he visited last spring and sat in the garden with me and told me more about Thomas, and I told him more about Thomas, and the two of us together, the father and the young man the son had saved, built something in that garden afternoon that I want to call by the only accurate name available. Thomas built it. He built it 14 years ago with a lunch and some questions and some genuine attention to a struggling young man, and it arrived in my garden 8 months after his death as the specific and particular form of grace that I needed and that I could not have asked for because I did not know it existed. Be the gentle person. Pay attention to the struggling people around you and act on what the attention reveals without making the acting into a performance. Build the quiet things. They survive the builder, and they arrive, sometimes, exactly when the people who love the builder need them most. Thomas built something that found me in the garden on an ordinary morning and reminded me that ordinary mornings spent with genuine attention to the people in them are the whole of a life worth grieving. They are also the whole of a life worth living. He knew that. He showed me that. He is still showing me. That is the miracle.